No worries.
All right, give me 1 second. Everybody good? I'm ready. Ready? Russ, you're good? All right. Good evening. I'd like to call the regular Borough Council meeting of May 9th, 2022 to order. This meeting has been properly advertised in the Home News Tribune of January 7th, 2022, according to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrano.
Here.
Councilman Newbauer.
Here.
Councilman O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilman Peretti.
Here.
Councilman Potter.
Here.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Will you please join me in a moment of silence and a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so before we get to the presentations, I know council will mention it, but I wanted to mention that it was a sad time in the borough of Milltown over the past weekend. We lost our former mayor, Mayor Gloria Bradford, who passed away. Mayor Bradford was the first woman in Milltown's history to hold a seat on the borough council as well as serve mayor. In fact, she was the longest serving mayor in the history of Milltown, serving 3 terms and 13 years. She was involved in so many aspects of the town, with the fire department, scouts, her church, PTA, the American Legion. So she was truly an icon and a great asset to the borough of Milltown. So I send my condolences to the Bradford family and all of those who worked with her, and may she rest in peace. But she was certainly an icon here in Milltown and loved this town as we all do. So we were very sorry to hear of her passing, and I'm sure other council folks will have comments later, but I didn't want the meeting to go on, and I wasn't sure. It just happened over the weekend, so I wanted to make sure that everybody knew. So rest in peace, Mayor Bradford. Now we'll move on to the first presentation. We have Jill Hetzler here from the Milltown Education Foundation.
This camera situation. I didn't dress according to that. Now I know.
You gotta come.
You gotta go to the microphone.
Nobody.
Okay. Hi, Jill Hetzer from the Milltown Education Foundation. I had submitted a letter recently requesting that our park fees be waived for 3 events that we would like to continue to run throughout this year. They are all fundraising events, and as you know, the Milltown Education raises that money to go back into the school district to really allow for teachers to do the things that maybe their budgets don't allow for within the actual school budget. So the first one was for the spring clothing drive on Thursday, June 9th, which would be at the Mayor Bradford gazebo over at Borough Park, and we're asking to have those fees waived, as well as trunk or treat, which we have slated for Saturday, October 22nd, and then the Election Day clothing drive, which is the Tuesday in November. So all of those events go on really for our community. We're going to clean out some stuff, weigh the items that we get. Those then get passed along to other areas and countries that don't have what they need, and then we make a little bit of money back in for the schools for that. And for our trunk or treat event, the last couple of years it got a little bit bigger, and we had some stilt walkers, we had some local radio stations and things of that nature. And then again, it's a fundraiser, so we bring the families in to be able to trunk or treat that day. So we're just asking to continue that, and if possible, have those fees waived.
Sure. When's the one in?
Spring clothing drive would be June 9th. It's a Thursday, and we would have it open all day to drop off everything. Trunk or treat would be Saturday, October 22nd, and then the election day would be Tuesday, November 8th.
Great.
For the clothing drive.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, Jill, I've always enjoyed trunk or treat, a lot of fun, and I'm just wanted to make sure, have you reserved that date with Recreation?
No, we kind of like put that on hold for a second to make sure we could get all of our ducks in a row before we do that, but we will put that paperwork in as soon as.
So if we approve it, it's pending the...
Yeah, because we kind of had a back and forth with if we submit payment now and then wait for it to be written back out again, it's like an extra step that we were trying to avoid for everybody.
Sure. Okay, great,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have an introduction from Will Kaplan for the Milltown Rescue Squad.
I was told I have to look at the camera, so please give me a minute.
Okay.
Well, I gotta read my speech.
Feel free to do whatever you want, Will.
And then I'll adjust the microphone because I'm 4 feet taller than everybody else.
You can squinting all the way around if you want.
All good? Good evening, everybody. For those of you watching at home who may not know who I am, my name is Will Kaplan. I'm the current assistant captain of the Milltown Rescue Squad and the current chairman of the fundraising committee this year. More importantly, like everybody else that came with me today and standing in a uniform, I'm a volunteer. As many of you already know, the Milltown Rescue Squad is entirely operated by volunteers. This means that on top of going to work or to school or both and taking care of our families, we dedicate our remaining time to providing ambulance and rescue services to our community. The squad has been here for the past 85 years, since 1937, providing the same service with volunteers. Many things have changed, such as the equipment we use and the training we receive, but the core value of our mission to provide this service on a voluntary basis has not changed. The past 2 years, as many of you know, have been some of the most difficult in our history. Being on the front lines of a major public health emergency has been both humbling and trying. We witnessed firsthand the horrors of this virus, as well as the effects it had on you, your loved ones, and your lives. We saw for the very last time, many of you were able to say goodbye to your loved ones before we took them to the hospital. We felt the anguish of having to go with you and then leave you at the hospital alone, not knowing if we would ever see you again or if you would ever make it out. Every time we got up and left our dinner tables and left our families, we didn't know if we'd be coming back to them, bringing back this horrible virus. Today, we can proudly say that we didn't give up, and we're still here. The same cannot be said, unfortunately, for many other EMS agencies that have suffered greatly during the pandemic. Other agencies saw their staff leave the field altogether for safer or better opportunities, while their agencies simply had to close their doors because they could not afford to keep them open. I say again, we're still here. One of the reasons I believe that we survived was you, our supporters. You never stopped believing in us and never stopped showing your support. The lawn signs, the free meals, the cards, or just you waving and you smiling as we drove by helped keep our heads up and our spirits strong. Knowing that you care about us just as much as we care about you is what keeps us going. That's what makes this town so great. Milltown is very fortunate to have such a dedicated group of people serving their community. Whether you're a Little League coach, community board member, 4th of July volunteer, PTA chaperone, volunteer firefighter, or volunteer EMT, you help make this town a great place to live. Even if you're not able to join our ranks, your unwavering support makes it that much easier for us to get up and do this every single day, even at 3 a.m. It's for this reason we encourage all of you to help us celebrate what we do by participating in what we're calling Rescue Squad Month. Traditionally, May is when we hold our annual fund drive. You may remember us coming to your door, knocking in the evening, and seeing our friendly faces as we raised money to help support our operations. Since COVID kept us apart from each other, we wanted to get back out into the community so you can see our friendly faces once again. Come join us at many of the events we're having this month and help participate as we continue our annual fund drive and we start some new traditions this year that we hope we continue for the years to come. Tomorrow, for example, we're going to be at the Senior Center. We're going to start at 1 p.m. doing a safety and wellness presentation. We'll be giving out fire of life packets to help prepare you for an emergency, as well as walk you through what we do and what to expect when the ambulance comes to your house. Friday night, as with every other Friday night this month, we will be down at Borough Park. We're going to showcase our newest ambulance, one that your support helped us purchase. We will be cheering on our Little League stars as they compete in one of America's most beloved pastimes. If you miss us this Friday, like I said, we'll be back every Friday in May. Saturday will take us back to Borough Park to celebrate Multicultural Day. Much like our wonderful town, the Rescue Squad is made up of a diverse group of people who, despite their different backgrounds and cultures, work together to provide competent and compassionate care to anybody that needs it. Sunday is our flagship event, our annual open house. We have not been able to hold our open house since 2019, making this a very important day for us. As I mentioned before, we will be showcasing our newest ambulance, our most state-of-the-art ambulance, as well as the other equipment that your support has helped us buy and maintain over the years. We will also be giving you a glimpse of what it takes to be a Rescue Squad member in the hopes that we can generate some new faces within our ranks. Don't forget to bring your checks down if you haven't sent them in already. We'll be happy to collect them in person so we can personally thank you for your unwavering support. Many of us started with the fear and uncertainty of being an EMT can entail. But we now know that walking through those doors was the best decision we ever made. I can personally attest to what the squad has done for me. If I never joined, I would never be working the greatest job in the world with some of the people I call the best friends in my life and my beautiful wife. She's blushing. So this is why I celebrate the Milltown Rescue Squad. Not just what it's done for me, but what it's done for the community too. The Rescue Squad is more than just a ride to the hospital. We are more than a siren you hear in the echo of the distance. We're a family, and we're the lifeblood of this town. We are the people that try to make the worst day of your life just a little bit better, and we honestly wouldn't have it any other way. So before we leave, we want to remind everybody to be proud and celebrate your Rescue Squad this month. Our fund drive is in progress and is off to a great start. Don't forget to mail in your donation, but better yet, stop by and see us. Drop it off. Come see what you bought us this year. Come see what we do for you. Come see what you can do for us. What you could offer us, you can also offer your friends, your neighbors, and your family. It's what you could offer to better yourself. So I want to thank Mayor, all the council members, both past and present, especially Mayor Bradford, who over the years have been nothing but a huge supporter to us. And we truly appreciate all the support and everything you've done to help get our name out there, help us promote our mission, and help us keep us one of the best volunteer organizations left in the county. I also want to thank our first responder partners, Chief Kennelly, the police officers and the dispatchers, Chief Patella and the Milltown Fire Department, who, like us, are also volunteer. And I want to make sure we thank every single one of you out there watching and here today, who continue to support us and make us feel loved and entrusting us with the honor of being your rescue squad. We've been here for 85 years, and we're just turning the page because we've got another 85 more we're looking forward to. So thank you, everybody, for your support today. Thank you for letting us present. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to bring up, we're more than happy to answer any questions real quick before you guys get back to the meeting.
Will, I do. As your public safety liaison, I'd like to thank you and the entire rescue squad for your service to our community. It is second to none. Also, too, just to let everybody know, as Will mentioned, you did get this in the mail. All the residents got this in the mail, I think this past weekend. So please read it, open it, and I have mine right here, so I would like to give this to you right here and there. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jason.
So hopefully we can see you guys all this weekend. I'm sure we'll see you down at the Park Multicultural Day.
Yeah.
Please stop by our open house. We'll be there from 12 to 4. We're going to have food. We're going to have demonstrations. We're going to have giveaways. And we're going to be doing our favorite thing is we're going to be cutting up a car that was donated to us. So if you love watching metal and things get destroyed, this is your place. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you to the Thank you all so much for your dedicated service. And thanks, Will, for the excellent presentation. Okay, now we will move on to the approval of minutes from April 25th, 2022. Have a motion and a second?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the minutes as typed.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilman Peretti. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Abstain.
opposed? And Margaret abstained. Okay. Next, we will move on to comments from the audience on resolutions. If any member of the public wishes to speak on any of the resolutions, please identify yourself to the clerk and say your name and address for the record. These comments are limited to resolutions listed on the agenda. Seeing none, I will close audience comments and go on to bills and claims. Will the clerk please read by title only the bill resolution 116, 2022?
Resolution 116, 2020 is authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $62,050.82.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Revelinsky, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have the introduction of resolutions. When voting on resolutions, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and, having been reviewed by the Borough Council, will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Are there any questions, or does any council person want to have any of the resolutions pulled from the consent agenda? There being no request to pull any resolutions, will the clerk please read the consent resolution?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting. And whereas the Borough Clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the Borough Clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the Borough Clerk.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that these resolutions be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky?
Aye.
Motion carries to pay the bills.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the budget introduction. We have Jeanette Larison, our BA, CFO, who will do the presentation.
She also doubles as tech support. I said she also doubles as tech support.
Nice. That did not take long at all.
Disappear in time.
Clean your filter, Jean.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. There, it's gone, it's gone.
Okay, so we've been working with the Finance Committee to prepare the '22 budget for introduction that I have for you tonight. So that would have been Council President Phil Zambrana, who is the chair, Margaret O'Donnell, and James Peretti, who are also seated at that committee. Before we talk about 2022, I'd like to discuss a little bit about 2021 and the additional items that we were able to complete outside of the normal services that are provided each and every day to the borough residents. So we had an aggressive town-wide tree removal that occurred, that we had the list that was many years old that we were able to complete, and at this point, I'm happy to say that we started fresh for 2022, and that we hope to never have that tremendous burden again in the town. So we'll be able to stay up to date with the trees that are needed to be removed. We completed the Tracy Drive improvements with the Department of Transportation grant. We finally completed and got approval from the state, our tax maps updates, which were sadly needed. We continued with IT improvements and upgrades in the town, servers, and with all the cybersecurity problems, I'm happy to say that we are well on our way to being as safe and secure as we possibly can. We were also able to purchase 2 new police vehicles. There was various improvements done at the pool, which you will see this season as you go down there and enjoy the pool. We had the tanks, the sand tanks, sandblasted, repainted. We're looking to remove the third one that isn't needed and maybe make better use of that space for storage. We also had the pumps rebuilt because they had been submerged underwater a few years ago and they needed to be rebuilt. So the pool in that aspect will be functioning, and we look forward to more improvements forthcoming. The water tower was finally, that project was completed for, repainted for the second time, but it looks beautiful now, which I'll have another picture within the slide. And then, as you know, the contract was awarded for the water lining projects, which, council was able to secure not one, but two grants, but this particular project was for the first grant that we received for the Highland Drive area, and that's well underway now. So that's what we were able to complete with 2021. For 2022, we have an estimated levy, which is based on the municipal portion, which we're looking to introduce tonight. We do have the school portion and an estimated county amount for a total of $29,251,892.56. It's really important to bring this aspect up simply because when you are collecting taxes, when our tax office is collecting payments, that we have to understand as the residents and everyone else that those payments that you are making are not just for the municipal portion, that they are for the various entities that we need to collect for. So if you take a look at the chart, you'll see that the Board of Education is 62% of the levy that's being collected that we bill for. Where we have the library, which is a separate tax, and that amount makes up about 2% of the overall levy. Then we have the county, both the general fund and then the open space for a total of about 13%. And then 24% actually makes up the municipal portion of the budget. So to put it in perspective, every $24 of the $100 in taxes that you pay will go towards all the services that are provided to you, which include, the police service, DPW, garbage collection, park cleanup, road work, all of those services, running the general services of the municipality for $24 out of every $100 that is paid. It's a pretty good bang for your buck, I think, here. So when we think about our operating budget for the general fund, in municipal government, we have to have a balanced appropriation and revenue when we create it. So your appropriations, those are your expenditures, so salaries and wages, any other expenses, general expenses to run each and every department, utilities to, gas, electric, telephones, things like that nature, contractual obligations, that's anything that we need to provide through the various union contracts, and then our statutory expenses, which are our debt service, pension payments, Social Security payments, things of that nature. And then most of our revenues do come from property taxes, but we also do get revenue from state aid and then various fees that are collected. So we have cell tower fees, we have court fines, we have grants, we do get a lot of grants, and you'll see with this budget, we have a tremendous amount of grants, a huge increase over the past several years. Again, some of the expenses, or the services even really that are provided are police protection, garbage collection, your recycling is all included in this budget, any storm cleanup, snow removal, park cleanup, your recreation department, your pool. Even though those things are also run by user fees, the user fees are a portion compared to some of the grounds maintenance that we do, code enforcement, building inspections, court services, all of those things, animal control, vital statistics. We are able to provide the senior center, the library, of course, is included, and then we make contributions for the volunteer services, such as the fire and first aid. The next chart is a distribution of, so what our budget is and how it's broken down. So we have salaries and wages is about 33% of the budget overall. Debt service is a little under 11%. Other statutory expenses, excluding that debt service would, like, as I mentioned, pension and certain insurances, and that's about 8.5%. This year's budget has about 18% of our overall budget is funded through grants. So that's a boon for the town. And then you have our other general operating expenses, which is about 20%. Here's just a snapshot of some of the appropriations and some of the changes. So the medical expenses have increased by about 10% this year. Our liability insurance has gone up slightly. As you can see, the statutory, which is everything but pensions, because the pensions are broken out where you see PERS and PFRS. Those are the pension systems for both public employees and public for our police department. Debt service has just about stayed flat because we have interest has gone down, but our principal payments have gone up. So the goal at this point is to keep debt service as flat as possible. And then trying to look to see so the state and federal grants, that's what I want to bring your attention to. So last year we got a little under $1 million in grants, and this year we're at $2.5 million. So that's 150%. So that's a tremendous boon to the town to receive those monies. And then, of course, the salaries and wages are up, but they are contractually required. So how do your departments stack up? So I know it's kind of hard to see this from this distance on the slides, but basically you will see that the salaries versus the other expenses. So every department, it's a little bit different, right? So some departments, it takes a lot more money to operate than others. So believe it or not, your smallest operations is the department that collects all the money. So they really have one of the smallest budgets, your collections office, and then you have other departments that are cost a lot more money to run, but overall, this just gives you a snapshot of where the salaries and wages fall versus the other expenses. And so here I just gave you a snapshot of probably the 3 largest budgets that we have, just to put it all in perspective. So you have police and public safety, where the salaries and expenses takes up most of the budget. And then you have some, public works where it's almost a 50-50 split. So, and then rec and swim is somewhere in the middle. So that just kind of gives you a general idea of the flow of the funds to each of those departments. And like I said, those are the 3 largest, so just to give you a general idea. On the revenue side, so we have taken some hits over the years because of COVID that reduced some of the revenues. And the way that the municipal budgeting works is that you generally cannot anticipate more revenue than you collected in the prior year. So that sometimes makes it challenging. So what the state had done to basically accommodate municipalities with the loss of revenue from COVID was allowed us to do a basically 3-year average, which we did do that last year. And thankfully this year it was pretty solid, and we were able to move through without variating too much, except for, you can see where the school-age childcare, because that we only had to really fund for the few months of this year, as we will be handing the baton over to the Board of Education to take that on going forward. Another reduction in revenues was felt in the municipal court. That has a lot to do with the fact that the amount of cases that are able to be adjudicated every session has been greatly reduced. I know that the court system is working very diligently to, improve the amount of cases as well as the methodologies of adjudication. So hopefully that, will be taken care of in the next couple of years. And then I want to say that basically the rest of them are, give or take a little bit here or there. We're able to increase recreation because last year was a trial run after COVID and was quite successful rollout. And as we have our new rec director, and we are hoping to really add to the programming, and that will help us to sustain growth going forward. So that pretty much spells out the general budget. Within Milltown, as you know, we have basically three utilities. Our water sewer is combined. So this year's budget is a total of a little over 4.2 million. It's a self-liquidating budget, and what that means is when you are self-liquidating, it's self-sustaining, and therefore when we want to do any bond ordinances or anything like that, we also enjoy not having to put a down payment on that. With your utility budgets, the revenue is what's needed to support the operations, and those revenues come from water, primarily from water and sewer rents. And then, we're pretty much built out, so we don't have too many connection fees, but whatever we collect for that goes to offset the operations. And those general operations cover the expenses for the employees, for the licensed water and sewer operators that we are required by law to have, any debt service, and then of course, our water purchases and sewer treatment. With this budget, I'm happy to say that there are no planned rate increases, that we were able to accommodate all of our expenses within our current collections. The same would hold true for your your electric utility budget. So that's a little under $7.5 million. Again, this is a self-liquidating utility, which is very important. We don't want utilities that are losing money, because that will ultimately cost you money on your general operating budget. The electric rents, or your electric charges, is what supports this budget. Again, it covers the same operational costs as your water sewer utility, and it enables us to wholesale our bulk purchase of energy, which we resale to the public. Then also, finally, what's contained within the budget is the ability to have a very robust capital improvement program for 2022. So the money to pay for all of these improvements is not necessarily included in the budget, but it does allow for money for a down payment to go out to do some bonding for. So we are looking to do not only our Clayton Court and Hagen Patain areas with grants, but we are also looking to do an ancillary road program this year. There'll be various equipment for the DPW and the police department, some public building improvements, including the library and the municipal building, some much-needed park and playground improvements, additional improvements to the pool, and then some additional utility water lining projects. So we'll talk more in detail about this when we do the adoption hearing, because at that time we'll be able to give you a detailed list of those improvements. So the budget summary overall, because this is the bottom line, what everybody's really interested in, right? What's the tax increase? So the tax increase that's proposed with this budget for an average assessed property of about $163,000 is $35.96. So roughly $9 a quarter to continue with the usual municipal services that everyone has become accustomed to and that they definitely deserve. It also includes the infrastructure improvements and various equipment improvements or purchases as well. The water sewer budget, again, no rate increases are expected, no reduction in any type of services that we're providing, and also additional infrastructure improvements. And then the same would be for your electric utility. We're not anticipating any rate increases. We hope to provide some infrastructure improvements, and then also, obviously, we're not going to turn out your lights, so we're not going to reduce any services. And that is the 2022 budget in a nutshell. So,
That was an excellent presentation, Jeanette. Thank you very much.
It's it. That looked great. Lose my color.
So now I will go ahead and read that there will be no public input on introduction of Budget Resolution 123A-2022. The introduction summary will be published in the Home News Tribune on May 12, 2022, and second reading, public hearing, and final adoption of the Resolution 123B-2022 will be considered on June 13, 2022. Full copies of the budget will be posted on the Borough website and available at no cost in the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. May I have a motion and a second to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve this resolution?
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Zambrana, second by Councilman Peretti. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer.
Aye.
Councilman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Motion carries to introduce the budget.
We have another introduction. There will be no public input on introduction of Ordinance 22-15-111. The introduction summary will be published in the Home News Tribune on May 12, 2022, and second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on June 13, 2022. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the Borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost in the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Clerk Marlowe, will you please read the ordinance by title only?
22-1511, an ordinance of the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown amending the redevelopment plan known as the Milltown Ford Avenue redevelopment plan.
May I have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 22-1511?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the public hearing and final adoption for ordinance 22-1510. Since the introduction, full copies of ordinance 22-1510 are presently posted on the Borough website, on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, and are available at no cost at the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Clerk Marlowe, will you please read the ordinance by title only?
22-1510, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank for the calendar year 2022.
May I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman O'Donnell, second by Councilman Potter. The public hearing on ordinance 22-1510 is now open to any member of the public who wishes to speak on ordinance 22-1510. Seeing no comments? May I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing for ordinance 22-1510?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that was a motion by Councilman Potter and second by Councilwoman O'Donnell, right? Yeah. So all in favor? Aye, okay. May I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 22-1510?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman O'Donnell, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Any further questions or comments from the council?
Mayor, I mentioned this to our BA that last year when we had this ordinance come through, I had a question from a resident, and her explanation to me in private was very helpful, and I thought that you might give an explanation of why we have this ordinance, if you wouldn't mind sharing it with our residents.
So this ordinance is something that is customarily adopted each and every year along with your budget. And the reason that we do that is because the state only allows a certain percentage. This has nothing to do with the tax levy. It has to do with the appropriations. So it wouldn't matter if we had all the money in the world in the bank to spend whatever we wanted. The state only allows a cost of living increase. So the maximum is 3.5%. Each and every year, the state will come out and say, we're only going to allow 0.5%. If you want to do 3.5%, you have to do this ordinance. Now, we don't raise the levy, or I'm sorry, it's not the levy. We don't raise the appropriations by 3.5%, but it does allow us to bank that amount. So in the future, if we need to increase it, we can. So it has nothing to do with your taxes or the levy. It's just jargon for the state that they require us for our appropriations.
Thank you so much.
It's helpful.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Motion carries to adopt 22-1510.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to council reports and start with the Department of Public Safety. Councilman Dave Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Once again, I'd like to thank Will Kaplan and the rescue squad for coming this evening to speak with us. And again, thank you for their support. And as a reminder, please help support them by sending in your donations. Madam Mayor, I have one report from the Milltown Fire Department. For April 2022, drills 3, meetings 1, fire calls 5, special assignments 4, work details 4, total incidents 17. The chiefs met with the Finance Committee to discuss this year's budget and department needs for a new engine due to the high cost of maintaining older fleet. And as we mentioned in the last meeting, the Milltown Fire Department Memorial Scholarship applications are available. Check the department website and social media to download the application. Applications were also sent to the area high schools where Milltown students attend. Applications are for seniors who are graduating high school or are going on to post-secondary education, and the due date is May 16th. Memorial Day is coming up, and the Milltown Fire Department will invite everybody to the firehouse for a ceremony to remember our past members at 10 a.m. A silent prayer will be held at Engine Company at 9:30 a.m., followed by a march to the new firehouse at 9:45 for a ceremony at 10. Membership, Shane Ewing completed Firefighter 1 and is now working on his Firefighter 2 certification. As far as training, the live burn at the Monmouth County Fire Academy that was scheduled for April 7th was canceled due to rain and lightning. A fall burn will be planned with the area departments. For vehicle maintenance, Engine 62 was taken out of service twice and fixed twice by the repair vendor. Engine 72 came back and is now in full service after being out for 6 months due to shortages and extensive repairs. And Engine 72 was evaluated by our on-site services for an exhaust leak, which was fixed. We'd like to thank the Milltown Fire Department for working on their grounds in front of their building. They're putting some landscaping up for Memorial Day, so we appreciate what they did for that. And then also, 2 members are always needed. Candidates interested in joining the Milltown Fire Department are encouraged to stop by the firehouse Monday nights at 6:30 or email joinmilltownfire@gmail.com. Respectfully submitted, Stephen Battaglia, Chief of the Department. Madam Mayor, I'd also like to thank the efforts of our police, fire, and rescue squad, and utilities for yesterday at 5:30 a.m. on Mother's Day. There was a fire call at Heritage Plaza, but good thing to know, there were no injuries and no damage to my knowledge. So
good.
we'd like to thank them all for their efforts.
Yes,
in
certainly.
being there. So, another note, I'm sad to report that the Milltown Fire Department lost one of their own on May 1st. Former Chief Alfred Bailey, who joined the Milltown Fire Department in 1966, was a member of the Milltown Exempt Association. He held many ranks in the department: foreman, engineer, and president of the Relief Association. He served as the chief of the department from 1983 to 1984 and 1991 to 1992. He also served as the Middlesex County Manager to the State Firemen's Home and as the Middlesex County Executive Committeeman to the New Jersey State Firemen's Association before retiring from service in 2006. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Milltown Fire Department and the Bailey family. Also to Madam Mayor, regarding Mayor Bradford, she was also our Grand Marshal for the 4th of July. And just to also note that services will be at Bronson and Gutline. The viewing is Thursday from 3 to 8, and the funeral is Friday morning at St. Paul's Church at 10 a.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Utilities. Councilman James Peretta.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For the water and sewer report, along with all markouts, work orders, and daily pump checks, the department has the following to report. 4 water meters were replaced, and the replacement water meter program will continue until completed. As per DEP regulations, lead and copper samplings have been completed, and the department would like to thank the residents that are required to participate with their patients. By order of the DEP, the corrosion control system has been installed and is now operational. The Chestnut Highland Drive water main project is still ongoing. Please check Channel 15 and milltownnj.org for water and sewer updates. And then for the electric utilities, the substation was checked daily. The batteries that supply backup power to the substation control system were inspected. Vegetation was chemically treated, and the transformer containment pumps were checked. The insulated sections of the bucket trucks were washed and waxed in preparation of testing, and the annual inspection is in progress for the 3 bucket trucks and digger derrick. Our linemen work at high elevations, and annual equipment inspections are essential for their safety. A new LED streetlight was installed at 163 Clay Street to replace an old unit that was failing. A streetlight was repaired on Washington Avenue. A tree was trimmed by the department at 6 Weller Court. Branches were pulling on the electrical service line. Several branches were noticed in the overhead wiring during an overhead patrol, and branches were also removed. A grounding issue associated with the cable TV service was investigated on Cherry Hill Road. Department members determined the problem was an issue inside of the dwelling. A project continued in conjunction with the billing department to update the meter reading handheld units with more accurate touchpad and meter locations. And finally, the utility department worked with the billing department to rectify billing issues and replace malfunctioning meters. 1 electric meter was replaced, and we'd like to remind the public that electrical meters have to be accessible to our meter readers. Unfortunately, we are still encountering properties with locked gates prohibiting access. Please trim vegetation in front of your meters. Overgrown bushes tend to limit access and conceal bees' nests that can cause estimated bills instead of getting accurate readings. There are other options, though. Residents can fill out their own monthly reading cards and submit them to the billing department, or residents can take pictures of their electric or water meters and send them to the following email address: ahamm@milltownborough.com. Cards are available at the billing office or delivered to your mailbox if you request them. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Public Works and Recycling. Councilwoman Anna Newville.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Along with all scheduled bulk collections and regular sanitation pickups, the Public Works Department has the following to report. Trees were removed on Couthall Ave, North Brook Drive, and Birch Street, and removals will continue as manpower allows. Street sweeping is ongoing as weather and manpower permits. Storm drain marker maintenance and replacement has taken place and Route 1 has been completed and will be ongoing to comply with the stormwater regulations. Growlich Way Detention Basin has been cleaned and cleared for overgrowth of vegetation. Outfall pipe clearing has begun on Ford Avenue and will be ongoing in other areas. The soccer field has been painted again for the current season. Some fence repair has taken place at Mechlin Field. Road repair took place on Wilson Avenue. The DPW assisted with the Earth Day event by providing grabbers and bags and provided giveaways. The volunteers did an amazing job cleaning up and helped promote clean communities in Milltown. The annual stormwater report, as mandated by the NJDEP, has been submitted. Pothole repair is ongoing as manpower allows. Grass clippings must be put out in cans. No bags will be collected. Monday, May 30th, garbage collection will be moved to Tuesday, May 31st, due to the Memorial Day holiday. For more DPW updates, please check Channel 15 or milltownnj.org. And then we had a Board of Health meeting on April 26th. Mimi came and discussed with us, went over with us the fee ordinance with the board. And then there's also a reminder that the rabies clinic is to be held on May 24th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then I just wanted to highlight, I know that Will came and spoke, I just wanted to highlight some of the dates he had mentioned during his speech for the Milltown Rescue Squad. Tomorrow, May 10th at 1 p.m. at the Senior Center, the Rescue Squad will be down to discuss and hand out information. And Fridays throughout May, they will be attending Little League. And then this upcoming Saturday, they will be at the Multicultural Festival. That's May 14th. And then on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday is May 15th at 12 p.m. is their open house. And that's all I have to report for
Great.
tonight.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the Department of Recreation. Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to begin with the Library Board report. As a reminder, the Library Board meets on the second Tuesdays at 6:30, and they do meet in the library now, and people from the public are welcome to attend. There's lots of new programming, especially for kids. Crafts, reading, and story time remain popular programs. The library will be increasing its use of e-resources because those are the ones that are in demand. Visitors and circulation have been increasing at the library. And since spring has sprung, we encourage you to check out the gardens right outside of the library, which members of the board work very hard on. A couple of things that are coming up. The Multicultural Festival is something the library will be participating in this year. They're beginning a walking club on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. I'm not sure if I influenced that by telling people that I only return my books by walking them back to the library, but on May 21st, they'll be resuming Read with the Pooch as well as the Lego Club. And anyone who's interested in being a recipient of the forthcoming e-newsletter should get their email address to the library by giving it to the staff when they're there in person, emailing it to them, or following announcements about this on Facebook. And that concludes my library report. I wanted to mention that although I am the liaison for Historic Preservation Committee, Rich Frevolinsky kindly covered the meeting when I was unable to attend, so he'll be providing a summary of the discussion from that meeting during his own reports. And I have a report from the Recreation Department as well, so I'm going to switch to my computer to read that to you. Okay. An alert to all families, please visit the borough's webpage to sign up for Community Pass. We need every family who participates in recreation programs or the pool to please sign up there. Make sure to add your family members when you enter the Community Pass account. And that is the first item on the left side of the toolbar on the recreation landing page. And the recreation landing page, by the way, is something to see. It's been updated, so look for more pictures and more information about the programming that's available. A few of those things include the Albert Avenue Summer Camp. As of this morning, there were 10 remaining openings, so if you wanted that, definitely get your dibs on one of those 10 seats. There's a new launch of something called the Mad Science Summer Programs, and they are 5 different week options, and should be registering for those on Community Pass. Spring tennis is going well and has great attendance. There are new multi-sport clinics underway that are also going well. T-ball was unfortunately rained out this weekend, but was set to begin on May 7th. Additional summer camp from Milltown's own Kristen Simoji. In terms of pool badges, 133 yearly badges have already been purchased through Community Pass, and interviews for the Borough Pool Summer Employment have been completed, and Ron described the applicants as a great group of kids. With spring on the way, please remember, if you're interested in renting any Milltown pavilion, please contact the Recreation Department or follow the link on the website and obtain an online form under Borough Parks. I already mentioned to please visit the webpage and familiarize yourself with new offerings and information about park locations. And also look there for the new official Milltown Recreation logo. It's a vibrant design that I think you'll like. And in conclusion, Ron says, please help us continue to make Milltown Recreation a thriving community in motion. And that, Mayor, concludes my reports.
That's great. Thank you, Margaret. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Environmental Health and Social Services. Councilman Rich Revelinsky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Start off with our Environmental Commission report. We had a meeting on April 27th via Zoom, and along with other items discussed, some of the key items include a discussion on invasive species and nuisance species that we tried to narrow down through our pending ordinance, and we'll be looking at a few others from neighboring municipalities in order to narrow those down. And obviously the list can grow or decrease as needed. Planning board and zoning board applications proposed and approved with respect to environmental impact, which include the additional parking spaces at Target, as well as the status of the Christopher Street heritage properties located at the Coolthau and Main Street intersections, and concerns over the site conditions there. Further evaluation of the Swinderman property at the bottom of Coolthau and Southbrook Drive, the monies available and possible security measures to prevent further vandalism. A recap of Earth Day activities and a desire to meet with the Revitalization Committee and Recreation Department to improve plans for next year. The Lawrence Brook Watershed Partnership attended Rutgers Day, the weekend of April 30th. When I was there, it was called Ag Field Day, so things have changed a little bit. New topic for Milltown is Milltown and energy. In the absence of federal regulations, what can Milltown do to encourage use of renewable energy and decrease our reliance on fossil fuels, including incentives such as new developments and buildings being required to be LEED certified, solar, or utilizing electric appliances. The next Environmental Commission meeting will be held on May 25th. I also attended the school board meeting, which was a budget presentation on Monday, May 2nd, at which time the school board provided and presented on their annual budget. In good news, the school received significantly more money this year in state aid than ever previously received. Some planned improvements include approximately $900,000 to improve or provide modular office space, which will help relocate administrative offices, along with other renovations and provide additional classroom space. Additional initiatives include a new 10-month secretary position and part-time nurse position, as well as converting 2 current 10-month secretary positions to 12-month positions. The budget was based on utilization of approximately $700,000 in fund balance, $1.4 million in state aid, which was huge, and the Spotswood tuition, for those curious, is roughly around $4.9 million. The anticipated tax increase to residents this year is about 2% or 2.08%, or roughly $10 per month for the average household. The Milltown Revitalization Committee will meet on Tuesday, May 10th. That's tomorrow at 7 p.m. The Green Team next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 11th at 7:30 p.m. And filling in for Councilwoman O'Donnell, the Historic Preservation Committee met on Thursday, April 28th. I was happy to have fulfilled her role, or at least to the best of my ability. For that meeting, where a multitude of items were discussed, including the current status of the South Main Street Firehouse, the desire to move forward with the Environmental Committee change towards a commission status, and the benefits thereof. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And next, we'll move on to the Department of Finance, Administration, and Planning. Council President Phil Zim.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So a short report from the Senior Center. On April 28th, Jeanette Larison and myself, our CFO, BA, did attend our most recent wrap session with the seniors, just to give them an update and to answer any questions that they may have. It was also an opportunity for us to, or for me to, look at the new floor that was installed, and since then I've been back one more time at the Senior Center to see that the parking lot, how that looked, because it was milled and paved. It's waiting to be striped at this point. Last Thursday, Barbara Wright gave a presentation from the Milltown Historical Society, just about what the organization does and to answer any questions. Tomorrow, just as Councilwoman Newbauer said, Will Kaplan from the Milltown Rescue Squad will be there giving a presentation and update on the squad. On Tuesday, May 17th, the Ladies Club will be hosting a tea party and potluck luncheon. Members will be sampling different teas while enjoying different types of sandwiches and desserts. As always, all are welcome to attend any of the events at the Senior Center. And if anyone has any questions, they can reach out to Debbie Cuddy at 732-296-0681, or visit her or send her an email at dcuddy@milltownborough.com. One thing that I did want to make note is that we do have, or the Senior Center does have, a new driver. So for our seniors who, for one reason or the other, can't make it to the Senior Center because they don't have transportation of any kind, they can reach out to Debbie to schedule, pickup times so that they can come and make it to the Senior Center. My next report is a short one, and I'm going to punt a little bit. The mayor, Madam Mayor Jeanette Larison, myself, and our Borough Council Attorney Peter Vignola were in Trenton this afternoon, early afternoon. Got here just before the meeting started to attend what I like to call a conference of sorts with stakeholders of Ford Avenue. Mr. Vignola, could you give just a quick synopsis?
Sure. So essentially, at this point, the condemnation action filed by the Ford Avenue Redevelopment Agency is still pending. In an attempt to try to see if a resolution of that litigation could be worked out, a settlement conference was scheduled by the magistrate judge currently handling it. That was at 2 o'clock this afternoon. It was attended by all stakeholders, including the Ford Avenue Redevelopment Agency, private lien holders. I appeared on behalf of the borough, as the borough does have municipal liens on the property. The property owner was there as well as a representative from the U.S. government, because the EPA has a lien on that property as well. Unfortunately, the parties were not capable of coming to a resolution on a settlement of the matter. The court did request some additional information from the property owner and indicated that a second settlement conference would be scheduled sometime in June. So following that conference, I can provide an additional update, but unfortunately, presently, we are still proceeding toward trial ever slowly, with a hope that with maybe some additional efforts, we might be able to settle the matter and get matters moving over on Ford Avenue.
Thank you.
You got it.
Short little report about the Revitalization Committee, the planter program. The Revitalization Committee will be meeting tomorrow, Tuesday via Zoom, but the planter program for 2022 will actually begin with a short meeting Wednesday in the conference room here from 7 to 8. It's really just a meeting of volunteers on watering, planting. What I'd like to also say is that there are still opportunities to sponsor planters in town. So if for whatever reason anyone would like to sponsor a planter in town, they can send an email to the revitalization@milltownborough.com email, and someone will come back to you. There's no set fee anything that you feel that you would like to give to sponsor the planter program. And then my last report is I wanted to thank Jeanette Larison and Councilman Peretti, Councilwoman O'Donnell for working together on putting together a budget. I believe this is the third year in a row that the assessed value has actually gone down. That usually doesn't happen 3 years in a row. I like that we have a lot of things in motion. We have a lot of things planned. For those folks who would like to know more about the budget or ask questions that they might not feel comfortable asking in an open Borough Council meeting, my email is on the Borough website. My phone number is there. I'm available to meet with anyone to ask or answer any of their questions that they may have. Just reach out to me, and we'll go from there. And that completes my report.
Great, thank you. Jeanette, you did a great job, thank you, so we'll let you go. Mr. Vignolo, anything else to add tonight?
Nothing to add, just to express my condolences for the passing of Mayor Bradford. She was truly a valuable asset and inspiration to the community, and her loss will be greatly felt.
I agree, thank you. Mr. McClellan, our engineer report?
Yes, Madam Mayor, just 4 items tonight. First is to update you on the status of Chestnut Street and Highland Drive. The work tomorrow will include temporary shutdown of your water system in the area for about 4 to 5 hours. Notices were delivered to the affected residents today. Essentially, we're connecting a temporary water feed pipe for the residents in the area, so that while we do that, we need to create a shutdown, which we're coordinating with borough officials. Hey, Gavin Patain, as indicated last week, awarding bonds and insurance with the contract shop drawings being processed, and the 10 to 12 lead time for storm strip pipe. Forgive us, because of the supply chain. A lot of the products which create concrete and concrete pipe have been delayed. So that's one of the downsides of what's happening with this supply chain. So we will continue to report as time goes on, but most of our projects in many of the towns are being impacted by this. As you can tell, it's causing me to choke. NJTOD grants are being requested. These are the grants that are used to offset your improvement capital costs. There's monies in there for municipal aid, for bikeways, and safe streets to transit. You have applied for these funds in the past. Obviously, the most money received in the last 5-10 years through the municipal aid program for road improvements. We'll be sending a letter with the attachment DOT around. The due date, I believe, is sometime in July, which we want to get together and decide which streets to submit for applications. And lastly, as indicated by Councilman Peretti, the erosion control project is in the commissioning phase and continues. There'll be a meeting tomorrow to discuss the status of the installation of erosion control, which is in. It's just a matter of watching the readings and seeing how things are going. So that's all we have for tonight.
Great, thank you. So, Mike, when you're doing the water, Highland and Chestnut, which I'm thrilled that that's progressing, is that a contractor that then coordinates their schedule with the engineer, or do they have some engagement with the Milltown Water Department? The reason I ask is, you said that people get a notice, but today there was some brown water, right, and we got a NIXA alert afterwards, so I'm just wondering, who's the trigger to let people know that they're going to be doing something that's going to cause water discoloration or shut off or something like that?
In this particular case, the contractor basically advised when he was available. We worked with him to get a notice together and then sent it to the residents, hand-delivered to the residents. So that's how it works. Today's shutdown, we're not sure. We're checking with Public Works and Water Utility tomorrow. Okay. We're not sure. There might have been a valve shut or something like that, but we're not sure what created that.
Okay. I can add that. I talked to Public Works today, and it wasn't meant that they had to do an adjustment midday work that they did not plan for initially. So
so surprisingly, I had it even on my side of town.
Yeah, that was surprising that it spread a little bit, but yeah, that's why that NIXA went out during work as opposed to
before.
Prior.
Okay, great. Thanks, James. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, on to mayor's comments. So I'll be quick. I was just sitting here listening to all of the stuff that's going on. All of the council are working hard. They have committees, the professionals are, and it's so nice to hear that there's so much going on. And then we had the budget presentation, and I just sort of said, wow, that's, first of all, we've been asking for a budget presentation for years, and it's really nice to get a full comprehensive one. And secondly, with everything that's going on with the services and all, to see such a small tax increase that will go on to the taxpayers is phenomenal, especially with the way that the things are now with inflation and gas prices. I'm happy that the council, the Finance Committee, Council President Zambrana, Councilwoman O'Donnell, and Councilman Preddy worked really hard with the departments and with the business administrator to keep those costs down and still see all of the stuff that we can get done and that we can plan for and get done in the future. The second thing is when the council talks about their committees, it's all members of the public that volunteer their time. We had the rescue squad here that volunteers. We are very fortunate in Milltown to have such dedicated volunteers in the squad, the fire department, and it makes me think of Mayor Bradford as well. She was certainly a true volunteer in every sense of the word. I'm sure she got a lot of fulfillment out of it, as I know I do. And she was a trailblazer as well. She ran for office years ago when now we have another woman mayor and 2 women council people. And so I think, I would encourage all the residents of Milltown to get involved. You do, it takes a little time, but I feel like you get a lot back. And, as we paid our respects to the former mayor, she certainly gave a lot to this town, and I hope she, understood that she gets a lot back from it as well. Just something that I failed to mention when I was talking about her before, and this has come up a few times since I was elected mayor. If someone passes, and Mayor Bradford would be the perfect example of, I'm asked, why aren't the flags lowered to half-staff? So I went to the American Legion website, and it says, can the mayor or local governments order the flag to be flown at half-staff? And it says, no. Only the President of the United States or the governor of your state may order the flag to be half-staffed. Those individuals and agencies that usurp authority and display the flag at half-staff on inappropriate occasions are quickly eroding the honor and reverence accorded this solemn act. So while if you drive by Borough Hall and the flags are not at half-staff, it is absolutely no disrespect to Mayor Bradford. She certainly has all of our respect, but we are respecting the flag and doing what the guidelines are for displaying the flag. And with that, I will close my comments and move on to old business. Does any member of the council have any old business to bring before the council this evening? Seeing none, I'll close old business and move on to new business. Does any member of the council have any new business to bring before this evening? Seeing none, I will close new business and ask for audience comments. The public comment of our portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining any comment until the speaker has finished. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has specific questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the appropriate office. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium. Yes. Go ahead, Pat. You're up already.
Hi, my name is Patricia Payne. I live at 2 Carina Drive. I just wanted to say thank you for the budget presentation, the comprehensive nature of it, the transparency. I know that's a new thing, and I'm very grateful, right? And I'm a visual learner, and I love pie charts and graphs and all of those things. And so thank you very much, and thank you, council. But even better news are the improvements to the pool. My older son, Danny Newton, he's been a pool manager for several years, and so we have a lot of pool issue discussions during the course of the summer. So I'm very happy that it sounds like we're going to have really positive pool issue discussions in the household. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan?
Yeah, good evening. Alan Gobber, 4 Fern Place. For the first time in 3 years, we want to do part of what we used to do every spring, which was Farrington Lake cleanup, but we're only going to do a little piece of it, which is starting at Bicentennial Park and moving south. So primarily cleaning up River Avenue between there and the beginnings of South Brunswick. So we might go, depending on how many people we get, we might go well into South Brunswick. And the areas that need to be cleaned up are those that are not, there's the wooded areas and natural areas, because there's a lot of trash there. I went and had a look at it a couple of days ago. So if you can help us Saturday noon, we're kind of signing up people from 8:30 at Bicentennial Park. And it starts at 9, goes till probably about noon, but as long as you feel like being there. But we would be grateful for anybody who'd like to come and help. And probably we'll be doing another clean-up. We'll be doing one in Milltown sometime in June, but maybe we'll do the rest of the Farrington Lake clean-up later in the year.
Great.
Alan,
And you left the flyers outside?
There are some
Alan?
flyers outside,
Okay.
yes.
Alan, who is the "we" in this case?
I'm sorry?
You said we're doing a cleanup. Who is the
Lawrenceburg
"we"?
Watershed Partnership.
Okay, thank you.
And if anybody wants some information, they can call me at 732-875-8632.
Great, thank you, Alan. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close audience comments and move on to council comments. Does any member of the council have any final comments this evening? Hearing none, I will close council comments and ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Newbauer, second by Councilman Potter. All right, good evening. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. Almost done.
We'd be sitting here.